You can just tell when it's going to be a boiler of a day. It is 5:45 right now, 5:42. So, a little past 20 to 6 in the morning, and I've been up for about half an hour. I walked outside, and when you go out in the morning, and there's that little bit of crisp in the air. It's still going to be warm, but it's just a little fresh in the morning. There's none of that. It feels 74 degrees right now, and it's going up to, 7,000 degrees today. As I said yesterday, it's so hot that they moved the races to 9 a.m. in Kentucky. So I changed my flight. I'm on my way. As I said, I applaud their progressiveness. I've just never in my life seen a 9 a.m. post time for racing. And if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. Last night we only had the two horses, right? We just had the two racing. We just had Spitfire and Neptune. I was a little frustrated with Spitfire. Well, first off, thank you for the notes. A ton of people sending notes to Amy and I, both on Facebook and email and text message, just to say, glad that went off. More so for Amy, also glad that she had a good qualifying day, first time ever, and that's a big deal. I think maybe I downplayed it. Maybe it was just downplayed in general because of it being our open house, but having those official qualifiers, having your name in the program, whether it be in a qualifier or a race, just being present in a official manner it's a good feeling, right? It's a really, really good feeling when that happens, and I could see how happy she was in her face as she was going behind the gate, knowing that she was being recognized for doing something like that. It's hard to say. It's hard to explain. I know maybe it sounds a little corny when you say it like that, but it is hard to explain. But I was very, very happy. She puts in so much work in a tireless manner, and it doesn't seem, I know she would never say it, but it just doesn't seem like the recognition is there all the time. I do my best to make sure that, I tell her how appreciative, we are as a family that she puts in the time, because, you'll have a lot of people say to me, geez, Anthony, I just don't know how you do it. Honestly, I don't know how she does it. And especially in the summer, traveling around to baseball, I'll go to Ontario when I can with Ollie and the girls, but a lot of the time I have to be up in the morning, going to Kentucky, going to Pennsylvania to qualify and or race. But she's already up. She's already gone to baseball and are on her way to baseball in another country. Or, checking in on the horses in Ontario, make sure everything's all right. She'll always check in, and then we'll have discussions if there's anything needed. There's always stuff that can be missed. Now, case in point, I'm on my way to Kentucky right now. Zena Kemp got to Kentucky, was freshly shod, little pulse on the outside of her foot, and she was a little sore on her right front foot. I initially thought that it was probably a high nail, which infuriates me. Now, these things happen. It happens to everybody, but it turns out it might actually be a little bit of a pus pocket in there. So Eric and Kathy were working diligently to get that to pop out today. I'd say from the level of discomfort described to me with Zena, that it's a tiny little pus pocket that's going to pop out her hairline. Hopefully we can get that to blow out today. I would hate something like that to cost us her first start in a state where she might be second favorite, but she's as good as any of them, and she has one of the best drivers in the world sitting behind her. So that would be an unfortunate misfire out of the gate, but at the same time, I guess there's always that voice in my head saying, it's a long year, it is what it is, take it in stride, because there's a lot more coming, and that's correct. So we'll see how that plays out. But having those conversations, and Eric knew right away, we talked about it yesterday for a little bit. Kirby and him noticed it when she got off the trailer. They pulled the shoe, they worked on it, jogged her, put it back on, jogged her yesterday. He said, she's good, but it's still bothering her. So we'll see how it is today. But those are the kind of conversations, and they happen all the time. Jason and I have them nonstop. Both Jasons. Jason Merriman did a great job conducting the orchestra, so to speak. Jason McGinnis was up in the booth yesterday. Jason Merriman was in the paddock running around, make sure everything was all right. If you guys are watching the broadcast closely, there's always a hiccup there too. Shoe came off Rico Tubbs. They had to put it back on. You know, somebody messaged me yesterday and said, Anthony, I noticed that you say the horse lost a shoe here and there. Those horses shouldn't be losing shoes, should they? It's a great question. You know, when you talk about pus pockets or high nails or horses losing shoes, you know, you may think to yourself, well, that seems like the blacksmith's fault. No, not all the time. A high nail, yes. Pus pocket, no. And losing a shoe, depending on the situation. I mean, if the shoe is a little loose going on the track, that's more on the caretaker than it is on the blacksmith, right? And when a horse grabs a flip-flop, as Rico did yesterday, and pulls it off, well, that's just racing. That's just the horse doing that. And it's very common. It happens all the time. There'd be lots and lots of times throughout the week where a horse would lose a shoe and a blacksmith would come and tack it back on. It's just not normally logged as an important event, so we don't generally talk about it. So yes, it is. It's a good question, though. It's a fair question. But yes, these things do happen from time to time. I got the little fella because I'm on my way to the airport. I'm going to be there in about 12 minutes now. Our house is, I think, 17 or 18 minutes from Cleveland Airport. So it's an easy transfer most of the time. I was early, which was rare for me. I was early, so I stopped and got a drink on the way to the airport. Now I can't take this through security, so I have to get this in. Anyway, happy with the open house. So happy for Amy yesterday, and you get to see the entire playing field start to emerge now for our stable. A couple of horses we're going to turn out. Capistrano Knights is going to get 3-4 weeks in the field. I believe AC/DC will get a little longer, maybe 4 or 5 weeks. Just let it mature. You guys can see this when I'm talking about it. It even to the most layman person out there that may not know anything about horse racing, you should be able to see what I'm talking about. That break by him yesterday was just a lack of concentration. He didn't seem lame to me or anything like that, and especially coupled with the fact that he trained very, very good this week. 3 days out makes me believe that maybe that training also maybe softened him a little bit where it should have hurt him. And again, that's indicative of a horse that maybe is a little physically immature, aside from mentally immature. So a little time off is not going to hurt him. But when I'm looking at the entirety of her stable, and I see 46 horses were broken going in February, well, training in February, and now we have, well, the other two tried to qualify, and I know the other ones in Ontario will qualify. The last horse to qualify will be Sterling Hanover, because we had to have the surgeon look at his throat. I'm floored. I am thoroughly shocked that every horse will be accounted for in an official capacity on the racetrack at some point through the summer. This summer, and I am a super optimistic person. You know that, but that's a big feat, and a huge shout out to our clients for putting those horses in our barn as always, and a huge shout out to our workers, right? Our caretakers, our trainers, our blacksmiths, people that allowed us to put the work into the horses in a way that got them to the track. And I must say, and I will say, probably what you're seeing is the best form of almost all of them, which always makes me feel good. So a great open house. We're off to a flying start this summer. I already had 2 wins in 2 seconds and 4 starts with the babies. But last night we raced 2 racehorses, Spitfire overseas. I was a little frustrated that I left to the right of Kildare King. You know, Kildare King has won many opens this winter. He was second in 51 his last start in the backup class. He was second to me with Spitfire, but it is worth noting from a race office standpoint. Spitfire Overseas fit the class below the Open that night, which meant he didn't really need to go into the Open that night, right? And it was just a short field, a big half, and he scooped them up, which was fine. I'm not trying to downplay the ability of Spitfire Overseas. I just don't think current form being what it is, that he belonged to the right of Kildare King, and that's a big deal, very big deal, because if I'm to the left of him, I might be able to let him trot off the car a little bit. Remember, I'm telling you, he's been feeling good and wanting to get at it off the car, and he'd never done that before. You'd watch him all the time, and I haven't had to watch him off the gate for his last 2 or 3 starts, and I would have liked to let him trot out of there last night, but I can't when you hit the speed of the race and a 3-5 favorite to the left of you. Just can't do that. I didn't like the way that the cover was shaping up. The horse first over didn't look like he was going to go very far. I went back to the inside, and he did. He would have carried me plenty. Would have carried me probably right into a 3rd or 4th place finish. But as it turned out, I went back to the inside, played it a little conservative with him last night, finished up 6th, and had the earplugs in his ears. I plan on racing him next week, but at the same time, outside posts on a half-mile track, especially with a horse like him, it's tough. It's a tough road to hoe. So we did what we could with him last night. I was actually happy with Neptune. Again, off 2 weeks. He had some foot issues that were bothering him. Not oddly enough, a better light horse with sore feet is not newsworthy, really. So they've been working on his feet. And doing a good job with him. I didn't want to get into a speed duel because Neptune's a decent horse, but a little shallow at times. So I just wanted to leave, sit, follow. And when I called on him coming for home, man, he really scooted up the inside and get up paced really hard right through the wire to be 3rd. So a good mile from him also. So that is what took place yesterday. So it took place last night. Obviously today, I guess the first news item is how's Zena's foot? We'll see how she is this morning. I have every expectation we'll race her, but as I said to Eric, if she is not 101% today going behind the gate, she will not be going behind the gate in Oak Grove. So, Love Sensation Grand Slam deal, I don't know what to think. I was talking to Scotty last night. He flew into Nashville last night because of the early post. And I told him I don't know what to think of Grand Slam deal. She drew the outside with some sort of a staking field. She's coming out of overnights. I don't know what to think, but we'll see together. And then obviously Jailbird Jog and Degas are 2 horses I've been looking forward to for a while. Degas, I'm going to say, is around 95% health-wise. Yeah, I told you I'd reported that SAA test on Saturday had her down around or below 100, which is a huge improvement from where she was at 1400 after her qualifier. I think, now obviously 1 qualifier, not 2, right? Couldn't train her up leading up to today. We can't. Tuesday back Monday is 6 days. We couldn't train her up on Thursday or Friday because of that SAA test being what it was, but she is healthy enough to race today, so hopefully we get a good start to her career indoor also. I think she's a little bit better than some of our clients believe. They think she's middle of the road. She's not. She's a nice filly. She's maybe a step behind Zena and a couple of steps maybe behind Jailbird Jog, but a real cool customer, and I expect that we're going to have a lot of fun with her this summer. So that's what's on today. Obviously, we also have the Gold event tonight in Ontario. We have Airport. We have Gaslight Hall and Chicago Hall both racing for 140. James on Gaslight, Jody on Chicago Hall, and Blue Ventura is also going to race tonight. Why is the other guy not in tonight? I don't see his name. Admiral Dio. Oh yeah, there he is right there. Sorry. Admiral Dio will also race tonight. So that's what's going on today, yesterday. The rest of the week, we should have a lot of fun. Tim, I'm just talking to Tim now about who we're going to qualify tomorrow. Leland Hanover for sure. I don't know who else other than him. Millie Girl, do I want to go with her back in 5 days after I know she bled a little bit, or do we go on Thursday? I'm 6 days, I guess. I'm guessing Thursday, but I haven't made my mind up. We have a truck ride going over for Tomboy Strong, who's racing Wednesday, so to get him over there is possible. It's an absolute possibility. this guy not know that I'm going here? Cute. So we can get her over there. I guess I just have to mull it over the next, I guess, couple of hours. So before I board this plane, who we're going to put in to qualify. For sure, it's going to be Leland Hanover. It may be Millie Girl. I think there might be one more. So 2 or 3 horses to qualify tomorrow at the Meadows also. That will kick off a fairly busy week with respect to racing and staking and 2-year-olds getting going. So the excitement starts today. It is Oak Grove. Welcome to Oak Grove 2025. I am hopeful we'll have a great day in the scorching heat of Oak Grove, Kentucky.